So, you feel like you're ready for love? I mean, you're tired of being alone, you really want a partner. But what if I told you the entire way you're searching, the whole approach, is, well, kind of flawed from the start? Okay, let's get into this, because today we're talking about the supercritical and, let's be honest, often avoided inner work you have to do to find a really healthy relationship.
Right off the bat, here it is, the big uncomfortable truth. If you're out there looking for another person to make you feel whole or loved or worthy, you are absolutely looking in the wrong place. The search doesn't start out there, it has to start somewhere else entirely. And this leads us right into that cycle we all know so well, right? I'm talking about the endless scroll on the dating apps, the late-night swiping, that constant hunt for some external solution to a problem that actually lives deep down inside of us.
And what's wild is how normal this all seems, doesn't it? You know, you polish up your profile, you line up the dates, you keep searching for that perfect person. And deep down, what you're really hoping is that they will be the one who finally makes you feel complete, who makes you feel worthy. But every single one of those actions is just a distraction, a really clever way to avoid the real work.
And this brings us to the main idea we really need to wrap our heads around. Just because you want a relationship, even if you want one desperately, that does not mean you're actually ready for one. They are two completely different things.
Let's break down the difference here, because it's huge. Wanting a relationship, that's just a desire. It's often driven by loneliness, right? The focus is all on finding the one. But being ready for one, that's a whole different ballgame. That's a state of self-knowledge. The focus shifts to being the one. It's not about a quick fix. It's about the slow and, sometimes painful work of becoming whole all on your own. And listen, this isn't just a nice idea. Psychologists are incredibly clear about this. The way you relate to yourself, your own thoughts, your feelings, your past wounds, that creates the blueprint. It literally sets the template that dictates the dynamics of every single relationship you will ever have.
So what's the big deal if we skip this inner work? Well, the costs are massive. You end up choosing partners from your unconscious wounds, not from a place of conscious choice. You find yourself recreating the same painful patterns, the same traumas, over and over again. You start blaming your partners for issues that were always yours to begin with. And you end up suffocating them with the insane expectation that they can complete you, a job no human was ever meant to do.
Okay, so that's the problem. How do we actually do this work? Let's get practical here. This isn't some vague, fuzzy concept. There's a real playbook for this, with concrete steps for building that relationship with yourself first.
So the whole process really rests on 5 key pillars. It starts with brutal honesty, getting real about your past. Then comes intentional solitude, actually learning to be with yourself. It often involves getting some professional support, like from a therapist, to see your own blind spots. It demands active self-education, learning about attachment, communication, all that stuff. And it all leads to radical responsibility, finally owning your side of the street. Let's dig into those first 2.
All right, let's start with brutal honesty. The first question you have to ask, the one most of us try to dodge, is this. What did my family actually teach me about love, about conflict, about connection? The answer to that, well, that's the starting point for literally everything. And right after that comes the second honest question. What patterns just keep showing up for me? You know, the same kind of partner, the same kind of fight, the same way things always seem to end? You have to be willing to see your own role in that recurring loop.
Okay, next up is intentional solitude. And let's be super clear, this is not just being alone. This is the active practice of sitting with yourself without distractions. No phone, no TV, no staying busy just to stay busy. It's about learning how to just be comfortable in your own presence. Because think about it, if you can't stand to be alone with you, you're just going to use other people to escape yourself. So what's the payoff for all this tough, introspective work? Well, the entire landscape of your love life completely changes. Let's take a look at the view you get from a place of wholeness. Just look at this comparison. It's night and day. When you choose from your wounds, you're looking for someone to save you, and you blow right past all the red flags. But from wholeness, you're looking for a partner, an equal, and you spot those red flags immediately. Your motivation shifts from just chemistry and distraction to deep compatibility and shared values. You go from 2 halves trying to make a whole to 2 whole people consciously choosing to build something together. And here's the beautiful, kind of crazy paradox in all of this. The more work you do on yourself, the more whole you become on your own, the less you actually need a relationship to feel okay. And of course, the less desperate you are, the better choices you make.
And the better choices you make, the more likely you are to actually build a healthy connection that's meant to last. So before you open that app again, before you go on one more date searching for the one, there are a few final non-negotiable questions you really have to answer for yourself. First up, and this is the most fundamental one, if you strip away all the noise, all the expectations from everyone else, do I actually know who I am?
And next, have I really done the hard work? Have I honestly looked at my own wounds, my repeating patterns, and the things that trigger my biggest reactions? And really, this is the one that ties it all together. Am I ready to show up in a relationship as a whole person, ready to be a partner? Or, if I'm being truly honest with myself, am I still looking for someone else to complete a job that was always, always mine to do?
Because here's the bottom line. You just can't build a lasting love on a foundation you've never even looked at. The most important, the most life-defining relationship you will ever have is the one you have with yourself. That's the one that makes all the others possible.